Okay, in this video I want to carry on with our UV mapping and texturing series. So at the end of the last video I moved and sewed all of my faces together and created a nice clean UV map for my crate. What I'm going to now do is export this as a JPEG, import it into Photoshop and start creating a nice image for us to work with. So what you need to do is go to Polygons, UV Snapshot, okay, and this is going to allow us to save our UV map as a JPEG or as an image. So a few things on here. You need to browse to wherever you want to save it. I've already created one, but I'll do another one. So let's just call this create UV map 2. Hit save. Resolution, so 1024, that'll do. And image format, go with either Targa or JPEG. It doesn't really matter too much, but best to work with those two file formats. So I'm just going to go with JPEG, hit OK, and you can see on the dialog box at the bottom here that it's saved it to where I set. So I save that into my project, into my images folder, and then it's created a UV map for me. So let me just navigate to that and find it. So this is my folder, props, images, and you can see here I've got my UV map. So if I just open that up, we've got a very simple black and white JPEG that we can use within Photoshop to paint on, layer up, add texture and detail to, and save on top of it. So let's go to Photoshop now and do open, and then we want to go to the same folder, so images, and create UV map. And there we go. So now what we can do is, obviously with our layers, we can layer up different textures, different things that we would want on there, and create a nice detailed image. So what I'm going to do, nice and simple for the sake of time, is I've just done a search for wooden crate texture, and I've gone for the tools and then gone to large to make sure that the image I'm working with is nice and detailed. And let me just pick one of these. I'm going to save picture as, and I'll just call it create texture 1. I might just save a few of these maybe. Just do save picture as, and I'll call it create texture 2. And that should probably do it, I reckon. I think we've got enough to go with for now. So in Photoshop, I'm just going to open those up. So props, I saved those in my source images. So I'm just going to open up that and that. Hit open. And then it's just a case of picking these, making adjustments, and applying it as you see fit. So a new layer, I'm going to just paste that in there for now. We've obviously all used, apologies there, that's just my cat standing on the keyboard. If I just copy that one in and put it in there. Hold on, let me just kill my cat. Right, so I'm going to now reposition these and use the UV map as a guide. So if I just click on the first layer here, Control T to resize it, holding down Shift, I can just move these to where I want, and oops, let me just give it a little bit smaller maybe. Okay, just zoom in a little bit, and remember, if you just do your opacity, maybe you can just start to see the line underneath, so you can just make more subtle adjustments. So remember, that's going to be the bottom, this is my top, so I might just duplicate that layer. Holding down Shift, it's going to keep it in line, so I know that when I move it up it's nice and in line. So there's my top and bottom. Let's turn this one back on. Control T, bring it down to size. Again, let's just bring the opacity down a little bit so I can just see what we're working with here. And there we go. Just that will do. Okay, and I'm going to duplicate that again. Bring it over here. Duplicate it again. And then lastly, so just using Maya controls to try and move around Photoshop. Duplicate this one more time. Okay, move it down here. Okay, cool. Bring the opacity back up on all those. And then what you can do, if I start to group all those into a group, so I've selected them all, just group them, so I've got those as my texture there. You can turn off the background if you want and get rid of it and just see how it's looking. You could obviously do some more layers here, put it above, and maybe get some brushwork going on. You know, you could graffiti it, you could apply some shading to it. If I go for some brush presets, maybe. Don't really know what I'm going to go for here. I don't know, something like this. Change the brush and opacity maybe, and then just go for something a bit darker. You can kind of create a bit of kind of mud effect on there. And just bring it right down, do the same kind of thing. That'll do for now. Okay, and I think job's good. I think I'm gonna leave it as that. I'm gonna now save this as a JPEG. So let's just save as. And in my props, in my source images, I'm gonna save this as create texturing. And I'm going to save the Photoshop file first. So it's always good to just save the Photoshop file to keep that if you need to work on it further or make adjustments. And then I'm going to do save as, and instead of Photoshop this time, I'm going to do Targa or JPEG. So let's just go for JPEG and call it create texture 1. That'll do. Hit save. Hit OK. And now what we're going to do is go back to Maya in the next video and have a go at applying this to our 3D model.